All right, these are the notes for our similarity unit. This is the next unit we're going to cover. It goes pretty quick. Pretty much everything in this unit is a proportion, so it should not be that difficult. Shouldn't take us that long to go through it. So again, here's the notes that you can watch as many times as you need. And again, what we're basically just doing this first part is ratio and proportion, and then eventually we'll move into similar figures, which you use proportions to solve. All right, so this is just a quick review. This should have been middle school. Ratio is just a comparison of two quantities that are measured in the same units and expressed in simplest forms. You can write it as A to B. You can write it as A over B, or you can do A colon B. Most people write it just like that, all right, because it makes it easy to set up a proportion when you put one number over top the other, all right? Now, what's new with Math 2 is what are called extended ratios. That means you'll probably have more than just two things. So there's mainly two types of questions here. They deal with angles in a triangle and perimeter of a triangle. Remember, in a triangle, all the angles have to add up to 180. So for homework, you're going to see some problems that deal with this, and this question says the measure of the angles in the triangle are in the extended ratio of 1 to 2 to 3. So what that basically means, the way you set this up if you want to draw the triangle, is just attach an x to each one of these numbers here. So this is technically 1x here. We also have 2x and 3x. Remember, all of these need to add up to 180. Why is it 180? Because there's 180 degrees in a triangle. So clean up the left side. 3x plus 2x is 5x plus 1 more is 6x equals 180. You can use your calculator if you want to. How do you get x by itself? Divide it by 6. This cancels. 18 divided by 6 is 3, so 180 divided by 6, x is equal to 30. Now, that means x is equal to 30. But the angle measures, we need to go back and find the angles, so plug this back in. This angle here, if it's x, is 30 degrees. This angle here is 2 times x, so that's 2 times 30, that's 60 degrees. And this angle here is 3 times 30, so it's 90 degrees. So this was actually a 30, 60, 90 triangle. Now, you don't have to draw the triangle if you want to. These problems are always exactly the same. All right, so look at this one. You can draw the triangle if you want to. But what it's telling me is the ratio of the measures of the angles in the triangle are now 3 to 4 to 5. So, again, all you need to do is attach an x to them. So I've got 3x plus 4x plus 5x. Find the measure of the angles. What do all the angles in the triangle add up to? 180. These problems are always the same, so clean it up. 3x and 4x is 7x, 7x and 5x is 12x, equals 180. What are you going to do to get x by itself? Divide both sides by 12. So again, if you do 180 divided by 12, x is equal to 15. But that's not what the question asks. And again, for homework, sometimes it'll say find the measure of the largest angle or find the measure of the smallest angle. Well, they want to know the measure of all three angles, but let's find the smallest one. That would be 3x. 3 times 15 is 45. The largest angle would be 5 times x. 5 times 15 is 75. And the medium angle would be 4 times x. 4 times 15 is 60. So those are the measures of the three angles of that triangle. And again, if you were to add 45 plus 60 plus 75, it should add up to 180 degrees because all the angles in the triangle have to add up to 180. All right, now, this one is not dealing with the angles. This is dealing with the sides of a triangle. So in this example, the ratio of the measures of the sides of a triangle is 3 to 3 to 8. And the perimeter is 392. Remember, the perimeter of a triangle is the sum of all the sides. Find the length of the longest side of the triangle. Well, we do this the same way. You don't need to draw the triangle if you don't want to. It's simply 3x plus 3x plus 8x has to equal, we're not setting this equal to 180, we're talking about the sides of a triangle. We're going to set it equal to 392. And again, clean up the left. 3 and 3 is 6. 6 plus 8, that's 14x equals 392. What are you going to do? Divide by 14. Take your calculator, 392 divided by 14. X equals 28, but that's not what it wanted. Find the length of the longest side. Well, would that be the 3x, or the 8x? The longest side should be the 8x. So you need to take 28, which was x, and multiply it by 8. So 8 times 28 is 224. So the longest side of the triangle was 224. That's the answer we're looking for there. You'll see problems like that for homework tonight as well. All right, same problem. Ratio of the measures of the sides of a triangle are 3 to 4 to 6. Perimeter is 104. These problems are always the same. So 3x plus 4x plus 6x equals 104. And what is it asking? The longest side, the shortest side, the medium side? It says find the measure of each side. So we're actually going to plug it into all three of these. So 3 and 4 is 7. 7 and 6 is 13. So 13x is 104. Divided by 13. So 104 divided by 13 is 8. So again, the sides should be 3 times 8, one side is 24. 4 times 8, 32. 6 times 8, 48. Those are your three side lengths. And if you don't think it's right, add them all up, and they should add up to 104. So those are your three side lengths right there. All right? All right, same thing, just a couple extra ones. If you're in class, we'll go over these. So again, just be careful. Question number 3 is talking about the sides and the perimeter. So we're going to do 2x plus 5x plus 4x and set it equal to 165. And it's asking for all the sides. So 2, 5, and 4, that's 11x. Divide by 11. So 165 divided by 11, make sure you're bringing your calculator, x equals 15, but that's not what it asked for. It wants to know all three sides. So again, if x is 15, 15 times 2, one side is 30. 15 times 5 is 75. 15 times 4 is 60. Those are your three answers there, all right? And then look at number 4. Now we're doing ratio of the angles. Remember, angles add up to 180. They're not going to tell you that. They expect you to know that. So the ratio of the angles in a triangle are 4 to 6 to 8. So that's 4x plus 6x plus 8x. But this time you set it equal to 180. They expect you to know that. Find the measure of each angle. Same thing, just clean it up. 4 and 6 is 10 plus 8, that's 18x equals 180. Divide by 18. 180 divided by 18, x is 10. However, that's not what they want to know. They want to know each angle. Plug it back in. 4 times 10 is 40. 6 times 10 is 60. 8 times 10 is 80. Those are the three angles in that triangle right there. All right? Okay, this will go quick here. Again, everything we do in this unit is pretty much going to be a proportion. With proportions, you always cross multiply. A goes with D, B goes with C. And there it is right there. A times D equals B times C. So we do cross products. That's pretty simple. You'll see some problems like this. This was last week's homework as well. Again, when you're giving me these answers, if it's not a perfect number, leave it as an improper fraction. I do not mind. 5 times x is 5x. 4 times 7 is 28. Divide by 5. If it doesn't go in evenly and you can't simplify it, leave it this way. Leave it as 28 over 5. That's perfectly fine. That's an improper fraction. As long as it's simplified, that's fine. Now, where it's going to change And you're going to see problems like this with triangles and other shapes. You're going to get proportions like this. Okay, we need to multiply this 5 by this binomial. So it's 5 times x plus 3 in parentheses equals 4x times 2. 4x times 2 is 8x. So don't forget distributive property. 5 times x is 5x. 5 times 3 is 15. Equals 8x. And again, I would bring the 5x over with the 8x. Now you get 15 equals 3x. And divide by 3. 15 divided by 3, x is equal to 5. Alright, same thing on this one. It doesn't matter which side you do first. 3 times y is 3y. But this is 2 times the binomial y plus 2. So don't forget that. You're going to see a bunch of them that look like this. So I got 3y equals 2 times y is 2y. 2 times 2 is plus 4. And again, I would just bring the 2y over. 3y minus 2y is y, and bring down the 4, so y is equal to 4. All right. Typical problems you'll see. Just set the problem up. So it looks like we have a small version of a painting or picture, and it is 2 inches by 6 inches. So I can go ahead and write that ratio. The actual painting is 15 inches high, so when I go to do my next proportion, where does 15 go, top or bottom? Well, height was here, so 15 needs to go up top. I put height on the top and I put width on the bottom, so x goes here. So if we cross multiply, 2 times x is 2x. 6 times 15 is 90. And divide by 2, 90 divided by 2, x is 45. All right. Next problem, a scale model of the Titanic is 107 inches long and 11.25 inches wide. So we'll do 107.5 will be the length up top, and 11.25 will be the width on the bottom. The Titanic itself was 882.75 feet long, so where did I put length? I put it on the top, so I need to put the 882.75 here, and the question says how wide is it? There's x right there. And again, just cross multiply. You can use your calculator. So 107.5 times x equals, multiply these two numbers, 882.75 times 11.25, big number, and then divided by 107.5. Same stuff you did before. Now you're dealing with shapes though. 107.5. So divided by 107.5. And it should be 92.38. All right. Another example here, a worker at an automobile assembly plant checks new cars for defects. Of the first 280 cars he checks, 4 have defects. There's your ratio. So he checked 280, 4 have defects. So I'll put defects on the bottom. If 10,500 cars will be checked this month, predict the number of defects. So 10,500. X is here. So that's 280x equals 10,500 times 4, 42,000, and divided by 280. $150. And last two, and then the next unit, similar polygons, that's what we'll do the next class. So Monique randomly surveyed 30 students from her class and found that 18 had a dog or cat. So there's your first ratio. So that must be total students, and then 18 had dog or cat. There are 870 students in her school. If I put students on top for the first one, I need to put students on top for the second one. Predict the total number of students with a dog or cat. There it is right there. So again, just cross multiply. You're really cross multiplying these two and divide it by 30. So 18 times 870 divided by 30, 522. Okay. And then the last one, a construction worker is placing rivets in a new bridge. He uses 42 rivets to build the first 2 feet of the bridge. I'm going to put rivets on top, feet on the bottom. If the bridge is to be 2,200 feet in length, predict the number of rivets that will be needed for the entire bridge. X must be on top there. So again, I'm really multiplying these two and dividing them by 2 times. So 42 times 2,200 divided by 2 should be 46,200.